I think this definitely has to be one of my favorite tracks in the game, just because it can be played over so many different instances. Here it's being played over Makoto being amazed by Kyoko, maybe amazed by how smart she is, or maybe just being head over heels about her, or maybe both. I actually think it's a bit of both. By the way, my name is Calvin, also known as Romer, and this is Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, and this is my first ever playthrough of Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this. She's very good, but I think it's honestly because, like, she spends less time being very hectic like all of us, and spends more time concentrating on, like, the case from the first second that we're talking about it.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then who was
Celeste.
the one pulling Hifumi's
I'm thinking it's Celeste. Like, it's the only one that makes sense at this point.
That's problem numero uno right now.
The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions, and in the end murdered him. In the debates up to now, the way the case is unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seems to fit. Celeste, right? We have 2 minutes to talk this through. It can't be Sakura. It can't be Kyoko. It can't be Ahina. It definitely can't be Hina. It can't be Hiro. It's not gonna be Hiro. It can't be Tagami either. I think that, like, Tagami was like having, like, I don't know. It can't be Tagami. And I think the reason why it can't be Tagami is because Tagami is having fun unraveling this case rather than just playing around with us. So,
Here's my answer.
Celeste, just from the way that they acted with each other before.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now, am I?
Yeah.
I really do hate this kind of joke.
Me too.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
Oh my god. The facade drops.
Pardonnez-moi.
Or as Peggy Hill will say, pardonnez-me? Pardonnez-me?
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Yeah, there is.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you.
Yep, and I said this too. I said this in the last episode.
Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
Yeah, this is why Tagami couldn't be it either, because again, like I said, he seems to be having fun working through the case rather than just messing with us. Sorry about that. The behavior, like here's the thing. There's the idea that they were both like screaming, right? This is not, but I don't think it's as important as encountering the suspicious individual, because encountering the suspicious individual, right? Both of them saw Robo Justice. Both of them were two of the people that kept sending us on wild goose chases. I think we have to go with this. The screaming could be it as well, just because they both did have that scream, and uncommonly she screamed, which like never would happen usually. She wouldn't, like, Celeste never screams like that. I'm gonna say encountering the suspicious individual.
The
Maybe?
behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit.
Exactement.
The only ones who ever actually saw Robo Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Danganronpa.
This is how I know Tagami has had like no actual interaction with the real world. Like many people, I work in a workplace with over like 20 different adults. If you acted like this in front of any of those adults, they would all collectively call you out, no problem.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and
Don't
Hifumi
say
ever
sorry
laid
to this
eyes on a
guy.
costumed individual.
I'm sorry guys, but for the people that are gonna be like, see, Tagami is smart. He just lost all that right now because he wouldn't let someone else. That's not intelligence to take someone else's thunder. Sorry, you're now officially less smart than Hiro.
If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
Yeah.
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this
Oh my god, it's like
individual,
nails on a
correct?
chalkboard.
And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
It's honestly like freaking nails on a chalkboard. Just listening to his voice. I am in pain. I'm absolutely in pain. I would have rather hear someone else say this. I saw a shadow, something moving around the top of the stairs. Yeah, I said this as well.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen.
I could have said all this, Tagami.
Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor.
Again. Oh my god. No, oh my god.
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
That she did.
And when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
See, this is what I'm talking about with and people are gonna get and no people won't get this. Actually, the Tagami lovers, I will say, have been actually very pleasant. They're very pleasant and understanding. It's like a mother who has like a child who always like acts up at parties. Is like, I'm sorry about what he did, you know. I'm sorry about that, you know. But Tagami, like what he's doing now is like saying what Makoto was already thinking, what I was thinking, but he's saying it first, which. We all know that one guy who's like, who was at the D&D session, who was at the Yu-Gi-Oh table, who's at the party, who's at the get-together, who's in town with you, who's at the shop with you, who's in the cafe with you, who like will just make sure that he gets every single line in first so that he can sound smart first because he has like these built-up things that he wants to say. I'm sorry, I'll move on now. I'll move on. That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. Yep. I saw him, a strange costume man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I was blocking the stairs, so we headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab,
I can't.
it was time for her partner to get to work.
Yes, we're all aware of this. Hina and Hiro, I could have explained this to Hina and Hiro too. It would have made sense coming from a smart person. You're... What he's saying is true, by the way. Like it's all like it's what we started to think as well. That came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi. He's in the nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
It was to get us to divide into two groups, so that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
Yeah, Hina.
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
I'll lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well, then Makoto and Hina, you come with me to the nurse's office. I will leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko, and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected.
And I'm not just like thinking that like Makoto should have said this stuff for the sake of it, just because he's my character. I feel like you also have to make your main character, which I think Makoto is like a pretty good character, like in terms of like, you know, how he reacts to stuff. He's kind of like living through him. He's one of those characters that like you can kind of like experience the game as he's experiencing it too. But also giving us a win makes him more active. Letting him explain the stuff makes him more active. It means that he like means more to the story. And not only that, but like means more to the progression of like the story. Him getting interrupted to me is just like less main character and more just like, you know, sit down and shut up. When like in reality, like we know we could have said this. We said this for a reason, you know, and you know, again, like I know, like someone will doubt that, like I have that my intentions of just like, hey, he should be like an active main character. I think he is a good main character. I think he is, but I just feel like he should be more active in these situations.
And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it?
Yep.
It was your way of telling him, we're on the third floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
This wouldn't hold up in an actual court, by the way, but like since we're in a class trial, I love that we can say this kind of things, because like if this was like an actual court, you couldn't just be like, that was your signal, right? Because it's like, you can't prove that. You can't prove that at all.
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead.
I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
There we go. There's like that's all I was saying. Like I think Makoto should definitely get in on this as well, you know? He is the protagonist.
of it. Everything. The whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
Yep.
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
It's a very intricate plan. It's a very intricate
Each piece
plan.
isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed.
I actually agree. I feel like if you had any of these little tiny pieces of evidence, it would not matter at all, but the fact that they're all together.
Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Well, I believe her.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but
But you don't catch much anyway, Togami, so like I wouldn't feel bad about that. That's like you know, that's like a 4-year-old not understanding, you know, what they're saying on Judge Judy or something. You know what I mean? It's just like don't beat yourself up about it.
looking back, I can say that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
They must be really enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys died.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto.
I'm so sorry that his voice annoys me. I'm so
Once
sorry.
we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
It's okay, Hiro. It's okay.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Bujugu said that Celeste comments doesn't make any sense, but what is he alluding to? Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, like, I'm not sorry. His voice annoys me. He annoys me. He irritates the hell out of me. Like, and understandably so, like, I'm justified in this. I don't even care anymore.
All I said was,
I don't even care.
they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and
Us.
confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here.
All?
We're going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
Those guys.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it, what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
When she said that, she said she'd already known about Hifumi's death. With that in mind, what's so strange about what she said is?
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this.
They.
Enjoying the sight of us.
But that's a neutral
standing
pronoun, so.
around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died.
Do I have to use those guys?
And
Those guys
that is all I
seems...
said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What
So I
was
think those
strange
guys
about
is the-
Celeste's comment?
No? What happened there? What happened? Like, I guess, like, oh no, I know what happened there. I'm just being silly. Again, this is one of those things that, like, is definitely, like, going to be, like, a lot harder, for me, personally. Because, like, while, like, you know, and I know people will be like, I told you so, Jagami's, smart or whatever. Again, like, you know, it's just, like, a broken clock is right, at least once a day, right? With that in mind, what's so strange about what she said is...
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused.
Yeah, and confused. I'm just
They
like,
must be
I think it's
positively
those guys is
We are
what's
all
happening,
going to die
or what the
here.
problem is.
going to die.
Because I think we have to change it
just
to
like
those guys.
died.
There's, I
And
don't
that
think
is
there's
all I
a,
said.
is there a penalty?
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was
Yeah,
so strange
those
about
guys in
Celeste's
So
comment?
Strange, I think is what we're gonna go with. Okay, let's try this again. I just wanted to read it one more time.
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around.
Because those
fighting
guys,
us,
if she didn't know about the debts
confused.
beforehand.
They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die. Just
And it didn't
like
give, they
those
didn't give us
guys
any extra
died.
time, which I can appreciate.
And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
No? I guess I'm wrong again.
Shoot!
Maybe, oh no, it's the oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, sorry, that's my bad.
Said they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be.
I think it's, maybe we do it in reverse.
We are going to die, and that is.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's what was so strange about Celeste's
We
comment?
change it to So Strange, and then we hit those guys instead.
All I said. They must really
Enjoying the sight
Maybe?
of us standing around, frightened,
Possibly?
and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die.
Just like those guys.
There we go. Okay, so I had the right idea. I just did it in reverse. Okay, I think I should maybe just go for it sometimes with these as well because I feel like the
right.
penalty isn't gonna be
There's
too
no reason
serious.
Celeste should have said, just like
Yeah.
those guys die.
Yeah, that's what I got the idea from the start, but I was being very silly and I don't know what the other word is. Just being very silly when it came to like the order
When
of
she
it.
said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
Exactly.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys?
Yeah, this is actually very important. And like, by the way, Takami lovers, I'm mostly like, I'm half joking this time. Of course, Takami is contributing. Like, I'm not trying to just. I hope you don't see it as me, like, because you've been very pleasant with me. I'm gonna be very pleasant with you. I'm not just trying to annoy you. You know how I am at this point. I'm just like, it's me and Takami, you know, always in this constant rivalry. I'm not trying to annoy you, and I hope it doesn't come across as that.
Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
Celeste being the killer, like, made perfect sense, like, a little bit into the trial there. But, like, my original idea was, like,
You
that
all
it
have
was
such
obviously
vivid
Hifumi.
imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw.
How is, like, yeah, like... I'm trying to figure out, like, well, we should let her talk. I'm trying to figure out how she's gonna get out of this one.
Then what about the picture I took?
It was totally staged. It could have been so easily staged.
How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi
This is, like,
away?
one of the easier things to prove wrong, right?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit.
See, the thing is, like, I don't get as well as, like, you know, calling Hiro dumb, but then also believing he could make a full-on robo-suit, like this, that is so intricate. I feel like you have to, like, eat your own words at this point. Like, there's no way we can, like, agree with both or say both are real, right? Like, you can't just be like, you know, oh, he's, like, one of the dumbest people here, you know, which, again, I don't like that word describing people. You know, I use it sometimes, too, but, you know, but, like, we all do. But, like... And then also at the same time be like, you made this full-on robo-suit and devised this whole plan to kill two people at one time. And not only that, then you carried Hifumi's body away and all this stuff. Like, you know, it just doesn't make any sense.
Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera
How do you know that?
does not have a timer.
Oh, you were using it, in fairness. Okay, that's right, you were using
In
it.
other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by
Oh,
that?
Kyoko's gonna Kyoko you.
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, There is no other explanation.
Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you, Celeste? Other explanation? If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away, the only possibility is Hifumi and the suspect are dancing. Hifumi is dragging the suspect away. Yeah. I was thinking that they just posed in place, but Hifumi may be like dragging Hiro away after this. Like by the arms?
I got it!
Could possibly be it.
It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
Yeah.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit.
And which would also make sense because, like, it's very hard to maneuver in that as well. And Hifumi, like, is, you know, a big dude. There is some strength behind that also, you know?
We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing
Such a thing.
is utterly impossible.
How? Okay, explain right now. You have 2 seconds. Wrong.
Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Explain now. You have 2 seconds. Wrong.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
You're about to get. You don't understand. You're not up against Takami here. You're not up against me. You're not up against Hiro. You're up against Kyoko here. This is not. It's not even a fair match.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Okay, you can speak to me like that, but you're not speaking to Kyoko like that. I'm sorry. Like it's. Shut your mouth and allow me to educate you. Oh my god, Takami 2.0. Celeste thinks she can prove there's no way Hifumi is dragging the suspect away, but is that really possible? What are we working with here?
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out!
Okay.
You just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright.
Yeah.
If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Hold on a second.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit.
Hold on a
after all.
second.
No way!
You're not able to bend over in the suit though, right? She said she couldn't be bent at the waist. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Stand up straight. Okay, stand up straight. We have it. We have it already.
Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry
But what do we
my
hit?
weight. You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright.
Yeah, because they couldn't bend
The
over.
person inside the suit was unconscious. There's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Wait, so what do we hit?
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all.
No way!
Maybe actually. Hold on a second. Do we hit something? Maybe it's not this. What would be the other ones?
Then you just draped me across
Robo
Hifumi
Justice
and had
costume.
him carry my weight.
Oh, we can hit stand up straight with this. Okay, okay, that makes sense.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Like that? Yeah.
No, that's wrong.
I thought we had to change it, but we didn't.
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
Could not bend over. We tried with Hina. Hina looks adorable in this costume, by the way. I didn't say it at first. You totally can't bend at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
That's right. They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
So that if he was unconscious, he could still look like he's trying to carry Hifumi away. Yeah, exactly, Celeste. Exactly.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Yeah, this is checkmate. For the first time ever, me putting my arm around Tagami. Yeah.
Checkmate?
Uh-oh. 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 Uh-oh.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate? Celeste? Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
I did, like, the voice change as well.
Already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Hey, Hifumi, who was it? Who attacked you? Who attacked you? Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right, I remember their name. Yasuhiro.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not?
Oh my god.
He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro.
Okay. Yeah, he did say that, but like that's so easily disproven at this point though. We know that Hifumi was like bullcrapping us at one point. You know what I mean? Like
In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right, but my name isn't really Yasuhiro. It's actually Taro.
good point.
Confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Oh, like honestly, that voice makes you way cooler. You remind me of some sort of like a character like maybe like an Angelica or something like from Rugrats or something who's just like, or like a Helga from Hey Arnold as well. Like, you know what I mean? It kind of like, I don't know. There's like football head type thing. I don't know. Yeah, it just reminds you of that stuff.
What do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us.
Your boots are really nice. I just noticed now, Kyoko. Sorry about that. I should have said earlier.
How did he refer to each of us?
How did... Wait a second. Did he always say our last names only?
I got it! That's
I think he
right.
did.
Our last names. He called us all by our last names.
Yeah, and that like he would have said Hagakure, right?
I know I heard him say Mr. Nayagi more
Yeah,
than
he
once,
did.
for example.
He did.
So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name. Indecent?
Okay, Genesis just like, I haven't said anything in about 5 minutes.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Wait a second. Hold on a second. What's Celeste's full name? Wait, what if that's Celeste's last name? Wait. What if that's Celeste? Wait a second. Do you remember when we were doing the investigation, we were talking about the e-handbooks and how that they wouldn't be like, would they come in handy? And like I was like kind of like, hey, what the hell? What? Do you remember that moment when they were like, hey, the e-handbooks might come in handy? Is her full name on the e-handbook?
No. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to.
Yeah, Celeste.
And that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
Are we gonna have to use the handbook?
What? Did
I
you
never
just
noticed that
say?
before, but I guess because I just never like thought about it
To
at
think
all.
You take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit.
Oh my god. The voice acting. It's so good.
Come on. Enough with your idiotic Yasuhiro is a loser's name. Do I look like a loser to you?
Not right now, miss.
Well,
I said not right now, miss.
what? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
I love how, I don't love it, but how like manic she's getting, because it's like really is just the complete opposite of what their character's been. And we've seen some of those cracks through this case so far, but now we're
Okay,
really getting
then
there.
Fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are
And going back into the
wide
voice,
open
huh?
And listen up!
Oh
My
my.
real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you
Ludenberg?
please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Ludenberg? Celeste won't give us then. I have to do something to make her accept it. Let's go. Let's go. E-handbook. Yeah, the e-handbook. The e-handbook. Don't even try give me Spotless Hammer or anything else other than the e-handbook.
Hifumi
I'm
was
sorry.
trying to tell us something.
Yeah.
He wanted us to know the killer's last name.
Yep.
Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
And Ludenberg, the way that she speaks in kind of like an American accent as well, I wouldn't say it's Ludenberg.
name is...
Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
It sounds like a made-up name.
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending.
This is like the first time, though, that everyone in the trial really has been like,
No way to contradict
this
me.
is what we're gonna do. No way to contradict me, yes, because the e-handbook. Yep.
Moron!
I think it's the first time we've all been like together, and I feel like it's because there's less of us now. I remember there's something that shows it's all yeah. Not to mention that it may not be related to the case, but it might come in handy anyway.
Hifumi was trying to... He wanted us to know the killer. If there's one
Let's go.
Would have to be you, Celeste.
How many times?
Let's go out. Let's go Alvin mode. Let's go
How
chipmunk
long do
mode.
you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the... And since you have no way to contradict me...
Yeah.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, this. If her name is Yasuhiro, as her last name is Yasuhiro, this
That's
is
it.
literally the
The
end.
handbook.
There's nothing else you can do. She's done.
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right?
This is like show me your phone.
Monokuma told us all about it before.
This handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. When you start up, it will display your name. Always make sure you have the right one. Now, this is your everyday notebook. It has so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything.
Yep.
That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
I feel like privacy, like I still respect privacy, but this type of privacy's gone out the window at this point when we're getting this far into a trial.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Yeah, this is for Taka. This is for the actual main character of the game.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up.
I can see that.
Because
I can see that.
because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then, let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end.